What's up, YouTube?
What's up, YouTube? What's up, YouTube?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello. Yeah, there we go. Y'all be patient. There we go. We ready to go here. The screen or whatnot, feedback or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But we in here. You know what I'm saying? All right, there we go. There we go. Hey, I appreciate y'all tuning in. It's your main man, Ava the Hero, like always. Coming to y'all live tonight. The new digs, you know what I'm saying? It's I'm up here in this like loft area. Y'all know heat rise, you know what I'm saying? So something going on where it's hotter than a mug up here. But it's right on time because it seems like what's happening out here in this world today is also hotter than the mug as well. So what I wanted to do is spend some time with y'all talking this evening about just coming this NBA protest, all the things that happened today. I think your man Jacob Blake murdered a couple of days ago in Milwaukee. Also in Milwaukee today, you've seen some of these, I guess you would call them counter protesters. I don't know what it is. Vigilantes showed up to where folks were protesting with AKs and assault rifles and all types of things, and basically somebody else got shot today. You know, and it was so crazy because I seen a bunch of footage where the police officers who were working were like thanking the folks with the big AKs and the extra guns and the vigilantes for being out there and supporting them or whatever. And even I think one of the guys was on camera saying that the officers told them that they were going to push all the protesters in a certain direction because that they knew that these dudes, the vigilante guys with guns, could handle them in ways that the officers could not handle them. You know what I'm saying? Then a little bit later, you see a guy comes out and shoots a bunch of folks. So what I want to do here, and hopefully, you know what I'm saying, we can work through these technical difficulties together, is I am going to play the Milwaukee Bucks, who was the first team today to decide that they were going to boycott the playoffs. They finally came out. The media was waiting on them for a while, and they did a kind of a team press conference and kind of read a statement on why they decided not to play today, and kind of gave that some reasons. We're gonna also watch some content from Kenny Smith from Inside the NBA. Showed up to work today and decided that, you know, as an ex-NBA player, as a black man, he didn't even feel comfortable working, so he walked off set today. We'll listen to some stuff from Chris Webber. I got some stuff queued up for y'all from Doc Rivers, and then we got some stuff where there's some folks over at ESPN talking about NBA players contemplating like leaving the bubble. So before we get into that, what I'll do is I'll give you my take on it. So earlier today, I didn't even know this was happening. I was at the job and my brother called me And he called me and some crazy somehow crazily, as he was calling me, I was on the computer and I got a notification that tonight's game was about to be canceled or was postponed or whatever. The Bucks had decided that they were not going to play. And then so he was calling me, he was like, bro, you heard about this. So at that point, it was only the Bucks. And there were some conversations about other teams possibly joining that as well, right? And I don't even think at that point it even like dawned on either one of us that the reason why the Bucks would have been incentivized to do that is because they're in Wisconsin where all of this stuff was taking place. So, which it makes sense and in that regard, and I didn't thought about that. But one of the first things that my brother said to me was, "Do you think it was worth it?" And when he said that, my thought process was like, "What was worth it?" You know what I'm saying? Like, what exactly were they giving up? Like, we didn't really. I didn't have an understanding of what that was, right? Because there's a difference between saying like, we're not going to play tonight because this is happening, and like we're forfeiting the ball game. You know what I'm saying? And so what I talked to my brother about was initially what I felt like would have been the thing to do if you're really trying to make a statement, especially the Milwaukee Bucks, is if they would have said, you know what? Nah, we're not playing. Orlando Magic, y'all got the W tonight. We checking out. Bam. And really take the L, you know what I mean? So, because right now I feel like if you just postpone the games, then really you just like, you know, everybody is not really of any cost, right? It is, yes, we are not playing, but we may play in a week, and we'll play the same game that we didn't play today. You know what I mean? So what I thought was going to happen is that they were just going to let the Magics take the L. Everybody else will play, and then they say, yo, we're not going to touch the court until y'all do something up in Milwaukee. To me, that would have made a lot of sense. But I do like how things ended up where pretty much everybody said, if y'all not playing, we ain't playing. We get it. Y'all, we riding with y'all. We've seen that trickle down to folks like Kenny Smith. We've seen that, you know what I mean? Baseball games are not playing tonight as well. Let me see. Mr. Smarty Pants says that I guess LeBron did an interview. I hadn't seen LeBron's interview, so if you can, send that boy over to me on Twitter at ABTHero. I'll pull that up, and I will probably load it up in one of the videos that we're going to share tonight. Also, one of the things that's dope and that I love on this little service that I'm using is that I want to bring some folks in and get y'all opinion. So you're trying to jump in and have some conversation on this tonight. I'm gonna drop the link to this in order to join the kind of the chat or the live stream, and I want to hear your conversation, hear your thoughts on this stuff. But what I'm going to do right now is we'll get into this first video. This is the response or from the Milwaukee Bucks and kind of their team message on the issue here. I'm gonna put my headphones on so I can hear it just for this time being, and then let's check it out. Oh, shoot.
Statement now. Our team statement. The past 4 months have.
Let's see here. Hold on. I guess what I need to check is
on your time, stay here with us. We're sorry that it took a little bit more time, but we thought it would be best for us as a team to brainstorm a little bit, educate ourselves, and not rush into to having raw emotion, giving you guys things like that. So on behalf of ourselves and our team, we're going to place a statement as a team today and go back and continue to educate ourselves and get better awareness of what's going on, and then speak to you guys later. So we'll come up with a statement now.
The team statement, the past 4 months have shed a light on the ongoing racial injustices facing our African-American community. Citizens around the country have used their voices and platforms to speak out against these wrongdoings. Over the last few days in our home state of Wisconsin, we've seen the horrendous video of Jacob Blake being shot in the back 7 times by a police officer in Kenosha, and the additional shooting of protesters. Despite the overwhelming plea for change, there has been no action. So our focus today cannot be on basketball.
When we take the court and represent Milwaukee in Wisconsin.
So I want to pause that for a second. And what I hear there is them saying, yo, it wasn't even just the fact that, Jacob Blake got shot and killed, shot 7 times in the back by the police officers. It is then also the next step of, then the protesters, are then getting shot at by random citizens. And what was so crazy is that the word on the street is, and when you watch a video of the young man who came out there with the assault rifle, I call him a thug or something, you know what I mean? And he then walked by the police officers and they just let him go off. He fired the gun into the crowd and then walked by the police officers, and the police drove right by him like he hadn't done anything. So it's not even just this idea of the one guy. This is another layer. It's another thing. Damn, it was that dude, but now it's this whole other thing. So let's keep going.
We are expected to play at a high level, give maximum effort, and hold each other accountable. We hold ourselves to that standard, and in this moment, we are demanding the same from lawmakers and law enforcement. We are calling for justice for Jacob Blake and demand the officer be held accountable. For this to occur, it is imperative for the Wisconsin State Legislature to reconvene after months of inaction and take up meaningful measures to address issues of police accountability, brutality, and criminal justice reform. We encourage all citizens to educate themselves. I
feel like I have to say this. I wish my dog would have read the paper, before. It came out here with the fluid. I'm reading. He was a little jumpy, but let's go.
Peaceful and responsible action, and remember to vote on November 3rd on behalf of the Milwaukee Bucks. Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys got to finish.
A Bucks statement read by Sterling Brown and George Hill. And this statement came from Bucks ownership, Mark Lazary, Wes Edens, and Jamie Dinan. Quote, "We fully support our players in the decision they made. Although we did not know beforehand, we would have wholeheartedly agreed with them. The only way to bring about change is to shine a light on the racial injustices that are happening in front of us. Our players have done that, and we will continue to stand alongside them and demand accountability and change." Mavericks owner Mark Cuban told this to Brad Townsend, who covers the team. "All I can tell you is that I'm proud of our guys for using their platform," there it is, "to try to..."
All right, so what I think is dope about these dudes using their platform and why I think that it makes sense, right? So one of the things that you see once you read the comments or you see the Twitter feeds and you see all of the folks reacting to what's happening, you hear this narrative of, dang, good. I'm glad that, they're going to end racism today by not playing basketball, right? And I think that what Mark Cuban was saying there, and I feel like the intentions of not playing is because you are effectively putting a microscope. You're putting on this situation. You are saying, yo, y'all all were about to line up tonight to play basketball. And like many folks, you are ignoring what was happening in Wisconsin, right? And rightfully so, because when you think about this, and I will admit something to you all, is that there's been so much stuff going on in the last couple of months with folks getting killed. Every time you get on Instagram, every time you get on social media, every time you see another video of an issue or a circumstance with a person of color and the police, and you see that this, and it feels like it just never gonna stop, right? And so even like a guy like myself, who I am empathetic and try to be aware of what's happening with these things, but dang, it just ends up feeling like too much. And what happens when that happens is folks begin to tune things out. So it's still going on. Everything that folks was protesting for a couple months ago, everything that folks were pissed off about earlier this year, and had folks out in the middle of a pandemic protesting and tearing shit up. Now you're like, man, I can't handle it. Let me watch this basketball game tonight, man, because I need something to take my mind off of that. And I believe that is what they're doing, is like, yo, actually, you cannot take your mind off of it tonight. You're not going to be able to act like this isn't happening right now, because as you're about to tune in and watch this basketball game, actually you're going to have to tune in and figure out what's going on up in Wisconsin. Because I will admit that I have tried my hardest not to watch that video. I heard about what was going on with that young man, and I was like, bro, I cannot watch another one. And I was trying my hardest not to do it. And this is the type of stuff that them taking this type of stand, taking this type of action, then forces even a guy like me to be like, yo, let me pay attention to what's happening, because obviously something is not right. And I think that is the difference between folks who have like an open mind, or folks who are not necessarily in denial to what's happening, right? So in my head, I believe that if these NBA players, dudes who get paid millions of dollars, folks who love this game of basketball, and they probably have dedicated their whole life to it, will forfeit a playoff game, cancel the playoff game, postpone it, threaten to damn near walk out the bubble, something must be going on that is important. Maybe I need to pay more attention. Maybe I need to listen a little closer. And I think that is what, at the bare minimum, they're trying to get to happen. I appreciate in their statement where they're like, yo, before we jump out the window and give y'all a bunch of clickbait, sound bites and some clickbait head titles, what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the drawing board. We're going to sit here, we're going to calculate a little bit, and we're going to make sure that the information that we're sharing with you is actually how we feel about it, and it's actually information that we have a solid understanding on, and we can be proud of and stand on after we say it. So I appreciate that from them, and I think that is it actually, man, let's see, let me stop this here. And I think that it's necessary, and I think it was smart, man. And I feel like at the bare minimum, they're going to accomplish that. And if you were trying not to figure out what was going on in Wisconsin, and you were saying to yourself, man, it's just some other bullshit, I'm not paying this no attention, you're going to have to do that, because these folks are not playing basketball without it. What I want to do here is I'm going to pull up this clip from Kenny Smith. And like I said, folks, I'm going to let me throw this link over here for y'all. All right, let me see. I hope that I can get it. I'm gonna throw it in here. If you interested in joining the live stream here, you feel me? Click the link here, and I'm gonna bring some of y'all in. I want to hear y'all opinions. You know what I'm saying? Let's interact. Let's have a conversation. If we need to debate, then we will debate. You feel me? But go ahead, you click that link. It'll bring you into the live stream. And what I want to do is here, you come in. We're gonna play this and watch this video first, and let's check out my dog Kenny Smith. Can you hear it now? Okay. Let's check him out. Let's check him out. All right, man. We working through these technical difficulties. Let's see. Oh, all right. Damn, I know what happened. All right. Let me bring up my dog, Kenny. There we go. All right, here we go.
This is tough. I mean, right now my head is like ready to explode, like just in the thoughts of what's going on. And I don't know if I'm even appropriate enough to say it, what the players are feeling and how they're feeling. And I haven't talked to any of the players. I'm just like coming in, even like driving here and getting into the studio, hearing calls and people talking. And for me, I think the biggest thing now is to kind of, as a black man, as a former player, I think it's best for me to support the players and just not be here tonight.
Damn.
And figure out what happens after that. I just don't feel put.
And I respect that. Shaquille, the fact that everybody was you.
Man. All right. So as you see, a dog, Kenny Smith, said, out of respect to the players, out of respect to what's happening, he can't do it tonight. And now I think that's dope. I think it's dope. It shows some solidarity. And I feel like that is dope in a way that a few different things, right? In how I think it speaks a lot to the fact that if you are cool with Kenny walking off, then like you have to be cool with Chuck. You got to be cool with Chuck and Shaq Stan. I am. And I think that the message that Kenny was sending hit home, right? And I wish they kind of cut that video off ahead of before he could like really get into it. And we could hear Shaq in there and Charles's kind of rebuttal or their thoughts on it too. But what I would have loved to hear is them like let him make that statement and then them speak up on behalf of it. And that is kind of what I thought would have probably been the best practice for the entirety of the whole thing. But when you look at the Bucks, right, is them being the kind of focal point, the team that is most closely affected by what's happening, having them say, you know what, we're done. And then having these other teams kind of stick around and speak out, speak up and kind of support what they were doing, to me would have been like a dope move. Right, of like, yeah, we understand 100% why they walking out, you know what I'm saying? And allowing them to actually have a cost, right? I think that's the only thing that this whole thing to me loses is like I said at the beginning, when I was talking to my brother about this and he said, you know, is it worth it? And then I was asking myself, like, what is actually on the line with this? You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that it will be beneficial. I think that whatever will come from this will be something positive. But I think that what separates a move like this from, like, let's say what we seen on the other, like when you think about the protests or boycotts of yesteryear, is like the cost. You know what I'm saying? So if you are trying to put pressure on, let's say, Milwaukee or Wisconsin as a state, right, who supports the Bucks, they love Giannis Antetokounmpo and all of them dudes, for those dudes to be like, you know what, we about to lose our NBA championship hopes right now until y'all make a move. To me, that puts some extra pressure on it because folks love basketball. When you read these comments and you read how people are responding to this, you see them get enthused. They really care. You can act like this don't matter, it's not going to affect anything. And I think that historically, if everybody else would have played and the Bucks would have forfeited game after game after game until something happened, I believe that would have been an even greater like show of this is how serious we are about this whole thing, right? I think that right now, the way it's set up now, it's a big deal. It's showing like, yo, we are all on the same page, solidarity. This is something that matters, you know what I'm saying? But I think that in 3 days when they just resume games, like nothing happened, like I don't know if you get the same historical like stickiness as you would have if you had the Milwaukee Bucks say, you know what, no, y'all play. We're going to sit out on this one, and we're going to take these L's until something happened in our state, right? When you listen to that statement that they made, and they said, when we go to the court, every game we show up and we do our best. We don't accept failure. We're always trying to get better. We're always trying to take things to the next level. We can't afford to make these mistakes, and they're asking for folks in their legislation and in charge and in power on in their community to also do the same thing. I feel like you put a lot more pressure on their neck when you sit around and you say, you know what, we will take this L until y'all do something. Then after they do something, then y'all come back and win the NBA championship. That's a Disney movie. You feel me? Like I said, man, I'm gonna put the link here. If you're trying to join the stream, I'm gonna throw the link in the comments section. It's on StreamYard. You should be able to jump in there and let me know what you're thinking. Then I want to talk to y'all some. My dog Trey. I mean, the good say you gotta respect that move. The move is definitely to be respected. This next video that I want to pull up is with Chris Webber, and this is a video here that I hadn't watched the whole thing, so we literally live reacting to this video together. But I did watch the first like 10 seconds of it, and one of the statistics or facts, I'm gonna say facts that he's pointing out at the beginning of this video made me feel like we need to watch the whole thing. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna pull this up here. You know, Chris Webber, and I will say that I really hate Chris Webber's commentary. So the fact that we finna watch one of his videos mean that he's saying something impactful. Because when I listen to Chris Webber commentate, it made me think about back in the day when I was doing JVA and folks were like, yo, bro, this dude sucks. And I was like, I could see how you might not like my commentary because I cannot stand Chris Webber, and he has a full-time job as a commentator. But let's go. Also, we should be able to hear that. We got the things going on. All right, let me pick up the Saints.
Today, in the preseason game, reported that 4 years ago today, in the preseason game in Wisconsin, the Kaepernick first took a knee. No, this has never happened before, but I'm sure that Dr. Harry Edwards, Dr. John Carlos, Arthur Ashe, Jackie Robinson.
That is crazy. 4 years ago, think he said today, in Wisconsin, Kaepernick took the knee. And I believe that it wasn't the first time he took the knee, but I think that it was the first time he actually spoke out about it, right? It's the day when folks said, hey, man, we noticed you were taking the knee, and then he gave his thoughts and opinions on it. Then you fast forward 4 years, you see where his career was and where it is now. You see all of the things that have happened in this year and where we're at this moment. And you see that this is happening in Wisconsin, Milwaukee Bucks. Come on, man. It's crazy.
Listen, and others have been praying for this day. Shout out to Kenny that walked off. I wanted to have a voice in here because I feel like we only have the same couple voices talking during these times. So it's very important for me to come over here. I keep hearing the question like, what's next? What's next? Well, you got to plan what's next. You have to figure out what's next. I'm very proud of the players. I don't know the next steps. Don't really care what the next steps are because the first steps are to garner attention. And they have everybody's attention around the world right now. Then leadership and others will get together and decide the next steps. So we know it won't end tomorrow. We know that there's been 1 million marches and nothing will change tomorrow. We know vote. We keep hearing vote. Everybody vote. But I'm here to speak for those that are always marginalized.
This is, I'm pausing for a second, but that is what I was talking about when I said that I hope that once Kenny walked out and made that statement, that Charles and Shaq acted as a voice to explain why that statement was happening, right? And that's the same thing where I'm saying with the Bucks. I wanted the Bucks to walk out and then have the rest of the NBA say, you know what, we'll explain. They don't have to talk. They talk with their actions. We'll explain to you why they're doing what they're doing. And then we'll let you know that we'll do it too if we need to, if shit don't, if we can't get things happening. Let's go back.
Those that live in these neighborhoods where we preach and tell them to vote and walk away. Charles Barkley came to my high school. Just seeing him in the locker room, seeing his hands and his body, that inspired me. You can't see something. You can't be something until you see it. And when I tell you the little kids that have called me upset, I have a godson that has autism, and I just had to explain to him why we aren't playing. I have young nephews that I've had to talk to about death before they've even seen it in a movie. If not now, when? If not during a pandemic and countless lives being lost. If not now, when?
Not now,
that's
when?
all I just want to hear from the rest of the night where everybody's pontificating and thinking and soapboxing and all of that. We know nothing is going to change. We get it. If Martin Luther King got shot and risked his life, Medgar Evers, if we've seen this and all of our heroes constantly taken down, we understand it's not going to end. But that does not mean, young men, that you don't do anything.
Oh,
Listen to these people telling you don't do anything because it's not going to end right away. You are starting something for the next generation and the next generation to take over. Do you have to be smart? Yes. Do you have to make sure that you have a plan? Yes. Do you have to be articulate about that plan? Yes. All of those things. But that's what you're going to do. They're professionals. They know how to be the best of themselves. And so I applaud it. I applaud it because it is the young people. It is the young people leading the way. And I applaud them.
Yo, we might have to play that back, man. That's the message. That's the message. That is the message. I appreciate what he said there on so many levels, because I think that he talks about, and this is something that I have and I'm always aware of, because we do this YouTube thing, but then also I do some filming, and also I do some like, you know what I mean, stuff on in my like professional career, right? And one of the things that always comes up is imagery, right? And what is the word? I'm trying to representation, right? The thing that always comes up is when you look at these movies and you had a conversation about why it was so important for the Huxtables and Bill Cosby to be a doctor, why it's so important to have Black folks who are positively represented on television, and what that does for the next generation, and what that does for young kids, and what that you see all of these things that happen, and I think that he's speaking to that right there when he says that when Charles Barkley walked in, and I seen him, he was a real person. I seen his hands, I seen him move. It inspired him to do something great. It inspired him to try harder. Like, yo, this is not just something that happens to randos or people who I'll never meet. This happens to a guy right there, Charles Barkley. And I think that that's the biggest thing that I feel like folks who are not people of color or who do not associate a lot with, let's say, Black folks, African Americans, is where they can't wrap their head around how or why, like, it matters to you. You know what I'm saying? Why, when you see Jacob Blake be shot, why, no matter what happens to him, why that happened, or whatever his past was, you somehow see some of you in that. And it's just that representation. It's just when you watch somebody who looks like you on there, and those bad things happen to them, you take it on the same way you do when you watch somebody on there and you see all those great things happen to them. Why do you think that when we look up in the Black community, there's this thing, you either sling rock, this is an old saying, but got a wicked jump shot. I don't even remember the way it was, but basically there's a time where folks was either trying to rap, they was trying to play basketball, or they was trying to sell dope. And that process started because those were the things that you were seeing. When you looked up many moons ago, the folks who are being most accepted into the community, into the world, why, is athletes. You look at what LeBron James means to greater than just like what LeBron James means to the globe. And you say, damn, how do I accomplish that? And you say, he did it off basketball. You go back to OJ. When folks was not messing with Black folks at all in this country, OJ got the pass. And you say, why did he get that? Because of sports. So it's the same thing. Yes, you either slinging crack rock or you got a wicked jump shot. There you go. Thanks, bag of ghosts. You know what I'm saying? So I say that to say that representation, that visualization, it matters, especially to Black folks in this country, because what we've seen is that we don't get the pass to be a solid individual by the greater community, right? And what I mean by that is when you look at the protesters, right? When you look at back when George Floyd was going down, and there was protesters, and then there's folks looting, and there's folks doing this, like, I realized that if I go down to the protest, like, I'm not a spectator, right? I am active no matter what, right? There's white folks who are around here who just wanted to go see it. They had nothing to do with it. They're not a part of it. I'm chilling. I'm way back here. I don't get to do that, right? That's the same thing. What's his name? And not to get super duper political, but what's up with your boy Joe Biden, who says this thing a while back about how you're not Black if you don't vote for me. You know what I mean? So it's just that we somehow get lumped into a huge thing. When you look at what's happening in Chicago, and people love to bring that up, and it's just like, well, why don't y'all be worried about that? If you're Black, you damn near, and you feel like in this country, if you're Black, you typically feel like you are lumped in there with, it don't matter if you're a criminal, it don't matter if you LeBron James, if LeBron mess up, that's a reflection on all black people. Damn near. This is what you feel like. If little JoJo at the corner store mess up, he messing up, and that's a reflection on all black people. That's how it feels in this country. We don't necessarily have the past to like have things separate. When a boy in South Carolina, what's his name, Dylan Ruth or whatever, did that, folks didn't say, man, look at all white kids out here is dangerous and you gotta watch your back. Nah, they didn't say that. But look at, they didn't say that about him. You know what I'm saying? All the other white folks got a pass. Exactly, they lump. Exactly. We get all lumped in there together, and we don't have the privilege to be individuals, right? If I get on here and I start spewing some shit that is hurtful and offensive, then what'll happen is somebody will take this clip and say, look at what black people think, even though it could just be me. And the sad part though is that we also take that on as well sometimes, right? And that's also the beauty of it. And that's but only when it's negative. And that's the beauty of it though, is that as we take it on, we get to take the positive on, right? We get to take the positive of watching Chris Webber say this right here and speak such truth, and that shit empowers and emboldens me because I understand what he's saying. I feel it in a different way, right? Because it's this thing that folks say, they say keep the same energy, right? And I relate that to it's a thing that I try to use. I use it in relationships and everything. It's like I am going to be just as happy for you as I am going to be mad at you. You know what I'm saying? And consistently. So like if you do something for me that is positive and it benefits my life, I'm gonna be like, yo, thank you so much. Oh man, I really appreciate it. If you do something on the other end that hurts me, I'm gonna give you the reciprocal amount of energy. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to then, and this is what a lot of folks do, and it's something to think about for you all as well as you're listening, is that when folks, if you find yourself in a space where you have a greater expense of energy when something negative is happening to you than you do when something positive is happening to you. If you frown harder when it's a negative situation, then you smile hard when it's a positive situation. You got to internally look at that and figure out, you know what I'm saying, how can you create the same and keep the same energy and give people the same, you know what I'm saying, what they deserve. So what happens a lot of times is you see folks will never tell you thank you, but they will always tell you when you mess up. With me, I'm either never going to tell you thank you, and I'm never going to point out the fact that you messed up, or I'm going to tell you thank you every time, and I'm going to tell you you messed up every time. You feel me? Well, let's see. All right, let me get over here. Sports Reaction say too many sellouts. I respect LeBron didn't let the money change him. That's a big fact. I love the fact that LeBron didn't let the money change him. He didn't become somebody else. He's still a kid from Akron. And I love the fact that that's been his mantra and his motto since the beginning, just a kid from Akron. And I think that to Chris Webber's point and to what I've been saying is that whole ideal of like LeBron James is an international, global icon, superstar. But at the end of the day, he's just a kid from Akron. The same way I'm just a kid from Tallahassee, the same way you all may just be a kid from New Orleans, from LA, from Mississippi, from Kukawasa, from Cedarburg, from Milwaukee. You could be just a kid from anywhere. And the beauty of watching a dude like LeBron James do what he does and speak on things the way that he speaks on things is that you still get to just be a kid from wherever you at, but you can also be a great person. You know what I'm saying? And I love the idea of not selling out. And I think that it is something that is typically not afforded to folks of color, where you then have to, in order to make it in society. For a while, we always felt like we couldn't speak and be who we wanted to be. You know what I mean? But we're at a place that we can now. And I think that is one of the things that that I actually get this from folks a decent amount, right? Especially at work and things, is I try to be myself, you know what I'm saying, at all times. I try to be AB. I'm going to talk to y'all the same way I'm going to go talk to folks at the job. I'm going to talk to y'all the same way I'm going to go talk to the folks over at Walmart, at McDonald's, at the pizza place, over at the law firm, the doctor's office. You're going to get me the same way damn near every time. And I always appreciate when folks at my job comment on the fact that like that they appreciate how just black I am just everywhere. You know what I'm saying? But all right, let's get back to these. I'm gonna pull up this clip from Doc Rivers here and see what he's talking about here. I think he made this statement actually, I believe it was before all of this went down. And I think that him even speaking on this probably is something that helped jumpstart what all was going on, because I feel like there was statements made by Jaylen Brown, Doc Rivers, and a few other people who really were pulling on heartstrings and kind of had folks like ready to take action anyway. So let's pull this up. Okay. Get y'all Docky Rivers. All right. Let's see. Speak to us, Doc.
Just watching the Republican convention, and they're spewing this fear, right? Like all you hear is Donald Trump and all of them talking about fear. We're the ones getting killed. We're the ones getting shot. We're the ones that were denied to live in certain communities. We've been hung, we've been shot, and all you do is keep hearing about fear. It's amazing to me why we keep loving this country and this country does not love us back. And it's really so sad. Like I should just be a coach. And it's so often reminded of my color. You know, it's just really sad. We got to do better, but we got to demand better. Like we got, you know, it's funny. We protest and they send riot guards, right? They send people in riot outfits. They go to Michigan with guns and they're spitting on cops and nothing happens. The training has to change in the police force. The unions have to be taken down in the police force. My dad was a cop. I believe in good cops. We're not trying to defund the police and take all their money.
And real quick, I want to give a shout out. We got a bag of ghosts in here. We're gonna get into some conversation after we listen to my man Doc Rivers, who is giving you some facts right now. And what I appreciate the most, and I hope that's not missed on a lot of people, is that he's emotional. These are grown men we just watched in the last two videos who are emotional on television. They care so much about it, they damn near about to cry. And listen and read the social comments. I don't even want to pull them up on here, but y'all seen them. And folks will be like, well, I don't even get it. Why you trying to tell me that nothing is happening? But I'm looking at Doc Rivers right now, damn near in tears as he talks about this. And I will get into some of this too, because I think what he's saying about fear at the beginning was epic.
Money away. We're trying to get them to protect us, just like they protect everybody else. I didn't want to talk about it before the game because it's so hard. Like, just keep watching it. That video, if you watch that video, you don't need to be black to be outraged. You need to be American and outraged. And how dare the Republicans talk about fear? We're the ones that need to be scared. We're the ones having to talk to every black child. What white father has to give his son a talk about being careful if you get pulled over? It's just ridiculous. And it just keeps going. There's no charges. Breonna Taylor, no charges, nothing. All we're asking is you live up to the Constitution. That's all we're asking for everybody, for everyone. Thank you.
Damn. Hey, I hadn't watched that from Doc Rivers either, but damn, it was impactful. Let me see. I'm gonna have to. Let me check your mic. Say something to me back, Ghost.
Yo, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Man, bro. So you was in the comments. You know what I'm saying. So I know you've been paying attention, listening in. It's a lot of crazy stuff going on. And I will say this to the folks here. Bag and Ghost is my brother. You know what I'm saying? And he's the person, you were not on here when I first started this stream. But what I was saying was that you called me and we were talking about this earlier today. And you brought up the first thing you said was, is it worth it? Right? And I feel like, I was like, yo, I don't know. Like, what's on the line here? And I feel like listening to some of these sound bites from these guys, it was worth it just to get these sound bites out and circulated. You know what I'm saying? Just to get some attention on what Doc Rivers just said, just to get some attention on what Chris Webber was saying, just to have the visual of Kenny Smith walking off the set because he's so just emotionally torn and pulled all over the place that he don't know what to do with this moment. And I love what Doc Rivers ended with there, and I'm gonna pull you in here on this one, is that he talked about being a father and having to have that conversation. Because that's really what gets a ton of people kind of into it and needing to say something, because if you are a dad, your child could be that kid or that dude who is gunned down from behind, right? We all make mistakes. You could be having a bad day. You get pulled over and be like, dang, y'all always bother me. And we just don't want that to happen. But bro, so tell me what's your thoughts on kind of what's been taking place, and let me know how much of what you kind of caught on today's stream.
Well, I would say this. I think it's interesting. I think it's awesome that these guys, that the NBA and these, how you say, what are they called? Channels or whatever you call them, are allowing these folks to express themselves, you know what I'm saying, without losing their jobs. That's the thing too. You know what I mean? I think that's that and I mean, I guess with all the Black Lives Matter that's going on in the NBA and the logo and everything, I think that's awesome. I think it's creating dialogue. It's putting it in your face, so you got to talk about it. I fit the description of a suspect. That could have been me.
Man, you see how as soon as you start giving that good game, the internet will act crazy.
So the people people that they're, you know, saying
Say that.
they're
Hold on, I'm gonna stop you because you
protest
cut out for a second. Can you say that again? You said
Um,
that you fit the description
but
one time.
yeah, I've before fit the description of a suspect, leaving from work with my work shirt on, um, and had guns pulled on me, and handcuffed, um, for not doing anything. Just leaving. All I did was leave from work. It was right in front of my job. Cops pulled guns on me, put me on the grass, and I could have been another innocent bystander, not bystander, another innocent person shot and killed. What they're doing now is, you know, boycotting. I appreciate that. You know, they don't have to. They really don't.
Yeah.
Because I would have been in here watching watching this, the games as we speak right now. Honestly, I want to be watching those games, but I'd rather them do this.
Mm. That's deep, man. Because I remember that day. I want to say I was in Daytona with you. I just was at the house, and I remember you coming home all shaken up about that happening, and it's so crazy to think, like, how do I react, right? So it's like if something like that happens to you and it goes left, and you end up on one of these T-shirts or a hashtag, and you become this like martyr, right? It's like, damn, bro, how does that affect me, right? And I think that that's the same idea that motivates a lot of this stuff here, because it's no longer just about you and your personal life and how you high up on the hill and you're an NBA player. And like you said, they don't have to do it. If you living it off in a mansion somewhere, you hope that God that don't happen to you, but it becomes bigger than you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It becomes about what happens if that happens to somebody else who don't have my notoriety and don't look like me, but is so close to me. The same way with George Floyd and Stephen Jackson. You know this
Exactly.
Stephen Jackson, Stack 5, Pacers, slid through the brawl. It's a whole thing. But he was super close with the guy, George Floyd, when that happened. And so that's what I'm saying. It's the same thing where it's like you think that that's so far from happening to you, and it might be, but it might not be that far from happening to somebody you love.
Mm-hmm. I had a guy not too long ago. My car broke down, and this guy, he was a white guy, came to, you know, assist me with my vehicle, and first thing we talked about was Black Lives Matter, and he was giving me his views on it and whatnot. I'm one of those guys where I can just kind of sit down and people just say whatever. They feel comfortable with talking to me. And what I've noticed is a lot of folks are pretty much, they don't really have a point of view until you give them one.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And if a lot of people who look like you say the same thing in your circle, then that's what you're going to go with a lot of the times.
Yeah.
Because you feel like that's the right thing to do. So he and I was talking about it, and all I did was just listen to him. And he mentioned black on black crime and all that, and all I can tell him was, and the riots and whatnot, and people rioting, and all I can tell him was, I can't get upset. I mean, you can't tell anybody how to feel. You know what I'm saying? After seeing somebody who looked like you be killed without any repercussions or little repercussions at all, how can you be mad at somebody wanted to tear some stuff up after seeing so much of it. You know what I'm saying? If anything, we all should be outraged.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I had to tell him. I was like, no matter what color you are, the police get paid to protect you. And I had to, and also I mentioned to him, I'm more afraid of the police than I am of any ISIS or whomever. You know what I'm saying? There's more police officers killing innocent black folks than black Americans, I'm gonna say, than ISIS is killing black Americans. You know what I'm saying? And once I said that to him, that kind of, he kind of froze a little bit, thought about it. You know what I'm saying? That's the conversation that we had. But yeah,
I think
just putting it out there. It's a whole conversation. This is what the NBA is doing. We're talking about it. We've been talking about it before, but it's creating dialogue.
Yep. I think that I appreciate that because that's what it really is. Like I'm saying, it's the conversation starter. It's and when you said folks like need you to give them some information, you know what I mean? Their opinion on this is the sum of all of the people who are around them and what they've shared with them and what they've said. And it's like these things start the conversation that allows your sum of voices who are talking to you that you use to create an opinion. It increases that. Because you would never have this conversation with him without all of these things going on.
Exactly.
Now, all of a sudden, he then has to hear what you said and add that into what he already believes.
Exactly.
And that would not happen without this whole thing. Hey, man, you gave us a cross shot. Nah, but man, it's deep.
No, I'm not.
It's deep, man. It's so many layers to this. And I wanted to mention, he talked about Doc Rivers in the last video that we watched, fear, and how the Republican Party is preaching this fear and being afraid. And it's so crazy how history repeats itself and how so many of these like narratives and things that folks used to say 100 years ago that helped create this 200, 300, 400 years ago, despite what was actually happening. And folks believed it as they tried to create fear, right? The ideal of like black folks gonna steal from you, kill you, rape you, all of this. At the same time, when black folks has been treated like cattle, raped, beaten, murdered, everything. But the danger is don't let them do it to you. And I heard somebody say this a long time ago. Who was it? Actually, it was Cat Williams. This is recently in this Cat Williams ad. And he said, so white folks is so afraid that black people is going to try to get revenge. And he said, after 400 years, they have not realized that we're better than that. It's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes,
I'll say
slavery happened. Yes, the Tulsa bombing. Yes, all of these things happen. But he said, we better than that.
Yeah, we're better than, because I'm going to say this. This is what slavery is. Instead of, you know what I'm saying? Instead of sharing profits with folks so they can work better, you chose to put your hands on someone and kill them to do what you asked them to do. Yeah. That's inhumane. I wouldn't. if anything, you know what I'm saying? Like that's you chose to harm somebody instead of another another outlet. You know what I'm saying? That you chose the last resort, the most inhumane thing to do to someone to get them to work more instead of you chose, you know what I'm saying, to get them to do something that you wanted to do. And I would say this: it's not that one of the things. It's not really so much that we're better. That's why we don't. Um, that's why we're not focused on revenge. It's more so is it don't make sense. The only revenge that we can get is by killing everything. You know what I'm saying? All that shit that we've been through by killing everything. But it don't make sense to do that. It don't make sense. Why would we do that? You know what I'm saying? We still it wouldn't make sense. So, you know what I'm saying? All we ask for is 40 acres and a mule. Or not really 40 acres and a mule, but just what I'm saying, equality, which a little bit more than what we well, actually a lot more than what we're getting now. The benefit of the doubt.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's all we ask for.
And that's to one of the points that I was making earlier is that that's something that we just not afforded in this country. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Even today, the benefit of the doubt, the benefit to just be an individual, the benefit to not have your skin dictate on the surface as soon as you know what they say when you meet somebody. There's so many different quotes about you know what I mean, judging a book by its cover and when you first meet somebody and lasting impressions and things of that nature. But like how all I want is that when you see me, you don't think of every other black person who ever existed. You know what I'm saying? Just off my skin color. You know what I mean? Like
I wouldn't even. Can I say this? Let me say this real quick.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Honestly, I would tell just think about the closest black person that you know. You know what I'm saying? When you see me, you know, your best friend, see your best friend, your closest black friend.
Yeah.
Or whatever. You know what I mean? Because that's how most of us are. You know what I'm saying? Most of us, like, I love hanging around black people, not because I'm black, because they're great people to hang around.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And most of us, you know what I'm saying? I mean, there's always a few bad eggs, but that's with anything. Yeah. But most of us are great people to be around. You know what I'm saying? Whenever I see someone who don't look like me, I think about, you know what I'm saying, the closest relationships that I've had with other folks. And I feel like that person may be my next best friend, or that person could be my next, the next opportunity, or I guess that's with anyone. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a positive person like that. Yeah. I feel like we need to take more of that approach. But hey, Alan, man, I gotta go.
All right.
But hey, man, I'm glad you let me jump on and say a couple things.
Yeah, man, I'm glad that you came through and you said you was gonna slide through. I'm glad you know what I'm saying, you did what you was said you was gonna do. I appreciate it, man. I think you enlightened the folks, you know what I'm saying, and on what was going on in your own personal perspective. You feel me? And I appreciate you sliding through, man. It's young bag of ghosts, man. What's your go ahead and throw your social out there so all of the 100,000 people who are watching right now could follow you on Instagram and get more information from you.
Okay. Yeah, man. You can always find me at the real Doug Bell, something like that. I'm not sure. I'm not really on social media like that, but I will. On the next one of these, I'll have something to give out. But yeah, you can always follow me at Bag of Ghosts.
Bag of Ghosts.
Come holler at your boy.
All right, young blood, man. I appreciate you sliding through. I'm probably gonna wrap this up here shortly as well, man. So I'll probably catch you on the line a little later.
That's what I'm talking about.
All right, man. That's your boy Bag of Ghosts in the building.
Definitely.
Peace. All right, y'all. It's your man, AB. We back at it. I'm gonna kick this dude off the screen here. All right, there he is. All right, so if you just now joining us, if you've been riding for a while, we've been talking about this NBA players boycott, Bucks and Lakers, and all of the teams who are scheduled to play today decided that they were not touching the court today. We watched a video from the Milwaukee Bucks, and they gave their um, reasoning behind why they didn't want to play today, why they wanted to take this route. We seen that. We had a guest, a young bag of ghosts. Also, you can hit the link. It's in the chat. If you follow me on Twitter, the StreamYard link is there as well. If you want to jump in, join the conversation, I invite you to do so. That's what just happened. We had a guest in here. So I really want to hear y'all thoughts and opinions on this. If it's in the comments or if you want to join in and kind of verbalize your thoughts that way as well, we down to do that. I believe I have one more video here that we'll check out, and then we'll wrap up after that. Let's do it. So I think that, man, I appreciate Doug, that's his name, jumping on here and sharing that story, because like you mentioned, that is my brother. And I remember that. I was not there when it happened, but I remember him coming home and being like shocked and terrified and scared for his life, and feeling like he was almost about to die when he's walking out of his job, literally like within a block from his job with the uniform on, all of that stuff. Police pull up behind him, guns drawn, get on the ground, middle of the street, made him lay down in the middle of the street because what they said was he fit the description of a suspect. And then it's the same thing. They get the call, and then it's like, oh, actually, he on the other side of town. My bad. It couldn't have been you. We'll let you go. And it's just that those type of things happen all the time. Those are the types of things that like lead to these drastic situations. And I think that those are the type of things that make folks really want to bring attention to this, because while folks may not be dying all the time because of it, folks are in situations where it could go left, right? And I always hear this thing where people say, man, why don't you just catch the charge, or just like let them arrest you, go to jail, and then fight it in court. And the system is set up where that shit don't work either. And people do not realize that taking your chances with a public defender for a charge that you didn't do, and they already got enough clout to just arrest you for it, folks do not believe that you're going to be able to go to court and then win a case. You know what I mean? So I think that is why you get a lot of folks trying to plead their case, and no, hold on a second, I'm not going to let you do me like that. And that's where that comes from. But all right, we'll check out this last video here. I believe, let me make sure. Yeah, we got it lined up. Let's see what they're talking about here. Some NBA players are considering leaving the bubble altogether.
Malika, I've had people say to me, oh, come on, they're staying at a hotel, they're earning millions of dollars, they're playing basketball. I don't think people really understand what it feels like. All the things you would normally do when facing any kind of trauma. Be with your family, be with the people you love who make you feel better. Go out for a long run. Guess what? You can't do that. The hotel where these guys are staying, the longest run is about a mile around the parking lot. I mean, there's all kinds of things that we all use as coping mechanisms to deal with something this significant. Talk to people who are like-minded, figure out what you can do, go out and physically do something. We just saw a tweet from Jaylen Brown saying, I want to go protest. He cannot go do that right now from inside the bubble. So they're in such an extremely unique environment. What have you heard about just how constricted they feel right now? And some players saying, look, whether we boycott or not, I just want to go home, because they do have that option. They don't have to sneak out. They can walk out the door anytime they want, correct?
Right. I mean, that's exactly right. They can choose to do that, and they may still choose to do that, right? I asked Jason Tatum what feels different now to you? Does it feel more constrained being here now than it did a couple of months ago with George Floyd? And that isn't to compare tragedy to tragedy. That is just to talk about what they can do, what they feel they can do here versus what they were able to do. And he said exactly what you said. There, I was with my community. I was with my family. I had this ability to go out and feel like I was doing something. And in here, I feel a little bit trapped. And you mentioned all of the privileges that they have in this bubble. And they're not denying that. There is more access to testing here than anywhere in the world. And by the way, coronavirus is disproportionately affecting Black and brown communities. That is not lost on these players. That being said, all of the privileges they have in here, there's some survivor's guilt that goes with that, Rach. There is a feeling of, I have so much. What can I do to help? Instead of just saying, well, I'm good in my ivory tower, they're looking back and saying, well, on the one hand, it's kind of become a tagline. I'm human too. I'm not just a basketball player, but it's also true because in this case, they are feeling that I am a basketball player. I do have the choice to turn the other way if I want to, potentially, as long as I am within these confines and not out on the street seen as just another Black man. But while I am in here, I am feeling that guilt, and I need to be able to figure out how to deal with that, how to help people, how to do something about it. And so that is adding another layer to what they are feeling without being able to protest, without being able to go home and see their loved ones go on a run and cope outside of the bubble.
I think that's such important context because I hear people just not getting it. And what these guys are feeling and going through is so real.
That's deep, man. That's deep. I think what you hear there is a few different things. It's kind of the stuff that we have kind of been talking about throughout this stream. Some of the stuff that my brother spoke on as well, with starting with the fact that like the bubble is just a strenuous situation in itself, right? It's you not being in your own bed. You know how it is. You've been on vacation before, and then after like a week of vacation, depending on where you're at, you're ready to go home. You know what I'm saying? Like you hyped to get there initially. It's everybody's having a good time, but then after a while, it's like, all right, it's time to go home. So you're dealing with that from the jump. Then you obviously cannot go home, and the more that you win, the longer you have to stay. So I'm sure that's some confliction in there because you're like, damn, all we gotta do is lose this game and we could take this and we can go back to the crib. You obviously don't want to do that. I think that we get
mechanisms to deal with something this significant.
The ideal of you would love to go be a part of your community, right? You're dealing with something like this. I think that folks don't realize how, and to the same conversation, like the shit weigh on you. It weighs on you different, right? We have kind of been conditioned in this country, and I keep saying that because I feel like it's in most other places around the world. When you're from a country, you're from that country, right? You are French, you know what I'm saying? You are British, you know what I'm saying? You are Australian, and it matters unless you're like an indigenous people. And this is something that I've seen too, actually, and some of the travels that we did. And is there everybody has their group in their country who like y'all could kind of do without, you know what I'm saying? And whether that's Black folks, Mexicans, as what are they, like refugees, gypsies, like no matter what, every country that I've been in, there's been a subset of folks who people have felt like if they were not here, we would be fine. You know what I'm saying? And which is it's crazy to think, right? And then everybody in other country that I went to look at what's happening in America and say like, man, that shit would never happen here. Even though they're having the same thing happen there, but in its own different way. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing. But with that, there's something to be said about being able to be a part of it, right? There's a bit of survivor's remorse in this situation where, like, yes, you are damn near super protected in that bubble from COVID, from the weird shit that could be happening with police and all of that stuff. But it's the same thing. You're protected, and you know that, But you also know that there's so many other people who are not protected, who are at risk, who are fighting the fight, and you cannot do that. Why? Because you're sitting in the bubble in Disney World playing basketball. Like imagine a war is going on. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that this is a war per se, but I think that when you add in coronavirus, COVID, and you add all of the stuff that's happening with the protests and everything that's happening in Wisconsin, like it's damn near a war. It's a war fought on many different fronts. But just imagine being a person who is from one of these communities that are adversely affected, disproportionately affected, and you getting a ticket to go be fine, and all your loved ones are still struggling. How that must make you feel. If you watch the movie Hunger Games, I'm sure that you will understand my girl Katniss Everdeen. She got the ticket. She can make it out, but she torn. I'm from district, whatever. You feel me? And I feel like a lot of these players are feeling that similar way. Um, we'll kind of come back to this throughout the week and have some conversations and have some more live streams and I'll do some kind of content around this stuff. So y'all stick with me. It's your main man, AB the Hero. We're gonna pull up out of here. I appreciate y'all for tuning in and joining the live stream. We out. Peace. Actually, let me see something. I got something special for y'all. Actually, let's do this. Ooh.